Hi, Jamie, and anyone who's from my YouTube channel. Welcome back to another episode. My name is Shirley Hussein, and I have a YouTube channel. I need to think of a better intro, but for the longest time, I've been saying, welcome to my channel. I've recently started this, and it's not recent anymore. And I also just want to say thank you so much to those of you who come back every week to watch. I really, really hope that when you do watch this, it's something that resonates with you. It brings joy, it fills your cup because it is things that I'm experiencing. And the idea here is that when I do share, it gives you a sense of like hope and motivation. Because as I record and I share my journal, it does become more personal. And I just want you to know that whatever you're going through, obviously you're not alone and you definitely can like get through it. So another thing is that I am in between my content because I was journaling, but then one of my girlfriends said that my sound is whack, and I was like, I cannot have that happen. So now I'm busy catching up. So when I do speak, I might be in between. Please bear with me because I'm reading like from things that happened in March or April, and we're now in May. It's not things I didn't go through, it's just that it's not in real time, which I usually do. I usually do my stuff in real time. So yeah, thank you so much for that. So let's get into it. So this happened in March. I had a check-in with my sister, and we were just going through the most. And one of my girlfriends actually told me, she's like, March feels so overwhelming. It's like giving December. But for March, I had experienced a lot, and I'll share that, but not in this episode. And I definitely feel like I hadn't been in that place for a long time, like overwhelming. I was super overwhelmed, but I need to take you back so you can understand why I'm saying that. So I grew up and I had anxiety for the longest time. And I then saw someone quite a while ago, a counselor, and I saw her for like 10 months, and it literally changed my life. And I just want to let you know, side note, that if you have not been open to speaking to someone, whether it's a psychologist or even if it's telephonically, if you in a space where there's a counselor at your workplace, or you have like a facility at work where you can call like these benefits where you can call someone and speak, guys, use them. Literally use them. Use whatever resource you have that relates to a psychologist or a counselor, especially if it's a benefit. you know um, I highly recommend it. I had anxiety and I thought it's something I'll just have, but once I spoke to this counselor, i I realized, although it was tough, it was so tough to go there and speak about things that I buried, and to identify things and bad habits I picked up, and to then go through triggers and realize what triggers are, and then coping mechanisms. It was such a difficult time, and I had anxiety about going there. Every time I had to meet with her, I was like, I don't want to do this, I'm so overwhelmed. And then she gave me exercise, which was even worse because then I had to like journal. I hated journaling. I was like, and I hate a strong word, we don't use it in our family, but I disliked it because I didn't want to think something and then have to write it down. I was like, are you crazy? I don't even want to think it. Now I must write it down. But then as I started journaling, I'm like, this, how am I, like, I'm not stopping. I'm just writing, writing, writing. And it's becoming something so healthy. But I don't always do it because sometimes I just don't want to like write down everything. But anyway, so just a side note, if you have not ever seen someone or you're thinking about it, yes, 100% go and see someone. So that's also why March was a bit difficult for me, because when I was going through these things, I didn't want to go back into having anxiety. So I always caught myself saying, I'm just overwhelmed. Things are getting too much for me. What do I do? And then I did end up calling my counselor again from like years ago. So we have once a year check-ins, and she's amazing. So I just spoke with her on 2 occasions during this season, and she gave me a few coping mechanisms and what I can deal with, or how to deal with this. And I want to share that with you, because so many times when I was like going through this, I was like, I'm fine, I'm fine. And then days became weeks and weeks became months. And the next minute, my entire March and April was like a blur, because I could not understand why I was going through it. And I felt like I was surviving as opposed to living. And I always say, at least Joyce always says, and yes, she's my friend, so I call her Joyce, you don't want to just get through your day. You don't want to end your day like, oh, what a day, I made it. No, you want to live. You want to live your life joyfully. You want to live your days to the fullest. And so I wasn't doing that. But also, when you're going through a season, you want to offer yourself grace. You don't want to be hard on yourself, because you go through storms and you cannot show up all the time. And it's okay to not be okay. And so that was all going on in my brain. Oh my word, that was a lot. And I hope that you get it. So what then happened was, I sat with my sister and we were just talking, and it made me think about like work-life balance, because that's where this all stemmed from. I was going through the most and I just could not find a balance. And I was like, a few years ago, one of my bosses said like, there is no such thing as work-life balance, and it's old news and it's old school and it's not true. And I was like, okay, cool, yes. And then he's like, oh, if you find something you love and they work in your daily life, we all know that, right? And then when I became a mom, I was like, there is really no such thing, because you at work and you think about your child's school project, and then you're cooking and you're thinking about the Excel document or the emails. You never switch off. And so I think an actual balance is fake. I think you create the balance. And with me, a few years ago, when I started this journey of my well-being and stuff, I realized that besides a balance, if I can't get a balance, what do I want? And mine was to be mindful, and the other one was to be present. I always wanted to be present in the moment, because when I had anxiety, I felt like it stole so much from me, because I was constantly trying to survive, that I couldn't really enjoy the moments. And now that I'm okay, I just want to enjoy the moments. I want to be present when my kids talk to me. I don't want to be multitasking. I want to look into people's eyes, especially my kids and my person, and like speak to them and be there. Okay, so I think to be present. And the other thing was that I was okay to not be great in that day with everything. So what that means is, I knew that if I showed up today at work and I killed it, I'm probably not going to be that great tonight when I get home, because I'm going to be tired. And that's okay. There's going to be days where I'm killing it as a mom because I woke up early, I helped the kids with the project, they got to school on time. And the night before I was working with them, I was baking for school or something. And I know that day at work, I'm not going to give my everything because I'm tired. And that's okay. So I think once I realized that I can show up in different parts of my life differently, but not the same, that also helped me. So anyway, so I think when we're going through a storm, and we're going to go through storms, I don't know if you guys have the same energy, but me and my household and my husband, like last year we had a good year, and it was such a good year. I was like, yay, God was so good to us. And then the beginning of this year we got great news, and then it turned really bad. And just before it turned bad, I was telling him, like, what are the chances that we haven't been through a storm? And that you're always going to go through a storm, and storms are good. It's literally biblical, because without a storm you won't build endurance or strength, and that's where you build your character. You don't necessarily build character with good times, and that's just a fact. But I don't say you must be in anticipation, like Joyce Myers always says, and I love Joyce. She's like, always have hope, always live with a hopeful spirit and a hopeful heart that something good's going to happen. And that's what we have. So storms are normal, they're going to happen, whether it's our decisions that later on come back to us like bad decisions, or whether it's things that happen in spite of us, that's okay. I think we'll never arrive. We never will. But one of our current goals around the season that we're in is that in spite of what we're going through, we want to be in control. So we want to show up and be happy. We want to be it. We want to show up and, have joy. We don't want the situation to give us joy. If we're not in a good space, it doesn't mean that we should, be sad or whatever the case may be. But again, it's every day, and you have to check in with yourself. And that's why I always say, offer yourself grace. My counselor used to tell me that if you have a bad habit and you used to do something 5 times a day, and then do it 4 times, and then 3 times, and the next day you do it 5 times again, like, that's okay. The point is, you have initiated mindfulness, and as long as you're trying, you're going to get better. And eventually you might not do it, and then months will pass, and then you might do it again, but that's still okay, because eventually it's going to stick, as long as we are there and we're trying. So when I then spoke to her, she gave me like a few things, and I wanted to share that with you. So just to give you background of why this makes sense to me. So we had a lot of change take place, and I didn't anticipate how much this change would impact me. And I was like, when we spoke about it,